Good afternoon, it's Dave, the Urban Survivalist. I hope you're well today. And today we're going to be talking about surviving a nuclear attack in the UK. Is it worth it? How would we go about it? And the advice is given online. Let's have a look. Now, with all the talk of Putin and Russia and World War III, the strikes on the Ukraine, all the propaganda that's about at the moment, the different countries that are giving out their pamphlets for nuclear advice. Here in the UK, we've had no such advice. But there is advice available online. So today we're going to have a look at some of that advice. Now, the first thing, sitting indoors, Putin's got the hump. Sorry, Putin, it was just an example. And he's dropped a bomb on the UK. What's the first thing you should do when you see or hear it? Now, whether you believe in nuclear weapons, nuclear power or not, there's a lot of people that don't. Each their own. But you know, at the end of the day, most people say, I'd like to go out with the bomb. Take me, let me stand out there and let it engulf me and like dissolve me. Wonderful. What sort of survivalist are you if you want to be engulfed in the first 5 minutes? Not really. But anyway... Now, sources say the one thing you should not do is look at the light because it can cause flash blindness. Now, flash blindness is the initial flash of light from a nuclear detonation. It can cause temporary blindness or even permanent retinal damage. Now, this is interesting. Flash blindness can occur at distances of up to 13 miles on a clear day or 53 miles on a clear night. Okay, so you're outside, you're having a nice little walk with your missus and the doggy, and the big bang goes off and this massive flash of light. Now, what do? You should find the nearest building, preferably made of brick or concrete, go inside the building, go as far below ground as possible. If that's not possible, then go to the most centre part of the house. It's usually a load-bearing room and it will have thick concrete walls. Probably a bit different from the 1950s, 1960s duck and cover drills. Students were told to practice ducking under places of refuge and shelter, including desks at school, and covering their heads to protect against nuclear fallout. I'd like to think we've come a bit further than that. Now, they reckon that you should stay in your house or this room for at least 48 hours. Now, dependent on the amount of radiation and the size of it, I'm not going to go into the size and yield of the bombs and detonation area and spread because it's all hypothetical and so many different types. Have a look at things like Nukemap. It's quite interesting. Apparently on Nukemap, I live in one of the safest places in the world. But I doubt it. So anyway, so as the UK government likes to have its little slogans, little catchy things, this kind of implants in your brain, the UK government site say, go in, stay in, tune in. And follow the local official advice. I mean, it's pretty much common sense anyway. But anyway. Right, so protective measures. Now online there's all sorts of information about protective measures and things you can do in your home to protect you and your family. Now obviously if you're a prepper or survivalist you will have food stored, water, possibly other bits and pieces. Now this again is online advice and this is from the government and other organisations. First of all, get inside. That's the thing. Shelter in place. Turn off any air systems, basically air conditioning or extractor fans. Decontaminate yourself if you have been outside. Listen to instructions and evacuate if instructed. Now that's not really a lot to go on, is it? So a system that we've kind of come up with, not that I think we'll ever be under NBC attack, but for our family, first thing we do is run a bath of cold water. The reason doing... or fill water bottles up. The reason doing is that basically if the water system went down, you know, if there was a great big explosion and the pipes went down, there's going to be a lot of people without water. Seal any of the major vents in your house with plastic sheeting and duct tape. Also windows and doors. Make sure your most centre strong room, like we said earlier, the room that you go use at the centre of your house, the load bearing or the cellar, has everything you need to last for a few days. Now, a lot of this storing stuff, what you got to think, if you're trapped in there for 5 days, how are you going to go to the toilet? You need food, you need water, you need medication, you need first aid, you need sanitary products, you need stuff to go to the toilet. I know people don't like to think about this, but a bucket and sanitation bags, antibacterial stuff, all this kind of stuff you're going to need to think about. I mean, it'd be nice if you had time to board up your windows and doors before that, but I doubt you would. But anyway, the other things like a mattress against the windows to stop blasts of glass and stuff going in. If you've seen Threads, this film, brilliant film. And it's kind of an example of what they believe it would be like and how society would reform and stuff like that, and the sort of unrest and the devastation. But I guess it's just a film. None of us will really know. It's all hypothetical. Now, basic equipment to have. Now, your strong room, or whatever you want to call it, should have enough food and water and supplies for the amount of time you intend to stay there. So we're talking food, water, batteries, a basic medication, a radio. Anyone that takes medication will need to have what they need for that amount of time. Sanitary items, first aid, and basic stuff that will get you by for that amount of time. Also, what I mentioned before, talk about toilet facilities. Now, we're quite lucky at our place because our strong room has an ensuite toilet, which can be sealed off at the same place. So it's kind of like really lucky. I don't know why I overshared that, but I did. Anyway, now we've probably got a lot of hardcore preppers and survivalists, or people who think they know what they're doing, that will totally agree or maybe add more to the mix, which is good. For instance, they might bring up NBC suits, gas masks, iodine tablets, radiation reading meters, Geiger counters, equipment that measures radiation exposure, decontamination equipment that shows you how to decontaminate your clothes and stuff like that. Now, for the everyday guy, and I was talking about this the other day, the everyday prepper has their NBC suit and their gas mask. Again, it's fine, but it's not as straightforward as you think. NBC gear, even though as simple as it may look, needs training to put on correctly and effectively. Now, I'm sure a lot of soldiers or people that have had to deal with this before will agree with me here. Also, being able to operate in a gas mask and NBC gear takes training. And also, you would have to have decontamination areas in your home, because it doesn't work like this. Let's be honest, you can't go out, for instance, and go foraging for food or looking for supplies, full NBC gear, come to your front door, leave it outside, come in, have a shower, put it on again. You know, you would have to wear a different one every time, and you would have to decontaminate it every time. It's when the army do this, they have so much equipment in place. So they'll send their troops in with their NBC gear. They'll have decontamination areas and rest areas and disposal areas. It's not as easy as people think. Also, what filters to use. I mean, most people will have their gas masks with their basic filters. Do you even know if that filters out nuclear and chemical biological agents? You know, or is it a dust filter? I know that might seem silly, but it's things to think about. You know, I could just imagine Joe Blogg's prepper, who lives in his mum's cellar, like this guy, gets on his NBC underpants and his gas mask and goes charging out looking for supplies. It ain't going to happen. But anyway, if we simplify this down with the advice I found online and the advice I use myself. Okay, first of all, get inside. Shelter in place, stay inside, or get inside as soon as possible. If you are outside and get inside, strip off, throw the clothes away, bag them up, keep them safe away from you, and have a shower. Put new clothes on. Go to the most centre part of your house, the house that's surrounded by more than 2 walls, internally or an underground cellar. Make sure that the room that you designate for this, you can call it your strong room or your safe room, has supplies in it to last at least 3 to 5 days or the amount of time you intend to stay there. Also include food, water, medical supplies, sanitary supplies, radios, batteries, and also toilet facilities. Run a bath of water immediately as you hear anything go off, or fill bottles with water in case of the water systems going down. There could be a huge water shortage crisis. Turn off all air fans, air conditioners, extractor fans. If you've got open fireplaces, shut them up. just temporarily. Seal all major vents, doors and windows, hunker down and listen to instructions. Now, the reason I wanted to share this today, not because I'm a fearmonger or doomsayer, because I have to be honest, I don't think it'll ever happen, but what sort of survivalist would I be, or prepper, if I didn't at least consider the option? Now, again, I thought I'd share this because it's like a lot of propaganda about at the moment, and I use the term loosely. But there's countries giving out nuclear war pamphlets, like I said earlier, and in the real world, not everybody has thousands of pounds for nuclear, biological, chemical equipment, and also the diagnostics that go along with keeping it functional and safe. So I want to keep this video as basic and idiot-proof as possible. Anyway, I'm sure we'll all survive. Another video, just food for thought. Drop a comment. Is there anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to mention? Would you like to go up with a bomb? Would you like the bomb to just come and take you and have done with it? The hypothetical bomb. What do you think? Are you going to be this dude in his cellar that's going to come out with his sexy NBC underpants and repopulate the planet? Let me know. Drop a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. It's been emotional. I'll catch you soon.